everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio. Today I'm sharing with you day 38 of the 100 Days project. This is a thing that a lot of people are doing. There's a website and a group and all that, but I didn't join any of that. I just declared on Instagram what I was going to do, which is mixed media collage, and that I was going to do it. And I've been posting over there on Instagram, and then occasionally we have some videos on here if I take the video and edit it. Today's piece is going to be a paper painting style mixed media collage. Paper painting style is when you use little bits of paper to create an image as if the paper was little paint strokes. So it kind of ends up looking like either a mosaic or maybe a loose acrylic painting or something like that. Something that I've been doing for a while and I really enjoy it. It does take a lot of time. It's not something that I put on my channel as much because it's hard to edit these things down into short enough videos to keep people's interest because they're long. But this one is a 5x7 flat canvas panel, and I was able to do it in an hour and a half, which I can then condense down into 20 minutes using, speeding up the video. Obviously, it doesn't go this fast, people. It would take a lot longer than this. So this painting or collage, whichever you want to call it, is based on a photo that I took of a fish hook barrel cactus that is in bloom in my backyard right now. It has red blooms that seem kind of like straw flowers. They seem like they would be really crunchy if you touched them, but I wouldn't recommend touching them because you might get one of those fish hook spines in you, and it's not super comfortable to get stabbed by a cactus. But they are really pretty, and it's always exciting when the blooms come out because the desert is mostly just tan and dusty green and colors like that, brown. We live in a land of tan. But the gravel in my backyard is tan. And the color that I used is actually that Naples red yellow light, which looks a lot like the color of the gravel in my backyard, surprisingly. I'm still fascinated with that weird color. It's a peachy tan. I don't know. You know me, I get weird like that. So I decided to paint. Well, first I made a drawing using a oil impregnated charcoal jumbo jet pencil, which was in a color called sanguine, which means blood, I think, which is kind of funny. But I put the drawing on there, just a quick drawing, and then I painted the background using that Naples red yellow light, and then added in a little bit of a sepia toned paint as well to make it a little bit darker around the edges. And then I'm going to collage, and most of this video is going to be the collage, right? Because that's what takes the time. I got to tear up all the little pieces, glue them down. I grabbed out some different colors of greens out of my pile of color scraps that are on my desk. And I've got some dark greens, some medium greens, some light greens, and some kind of almost yellow, limey colors. And I'm going to use all those colors to create the base of the cactus. And what I'm trying to do is put the darker colors where the deepest shadows are, and then add the highlight colors, which is going to be that yellowy, limey color of green, where the highlights are. This cactus, people who've never seen cactuses have ideas about what they look like, and they think a barrel cactus is just a circle, right? Just a globe. And it is kind of a globe, but really it has very deep crevices in it. So it's more like if you looked at it from the top, it would almost kind of look like a gear, except for with points and not, how gears have like little rectangles that go in and out. It looks kind of like that. It's like, or maybe a sunburst. It's round from the top, and then it has these spiky things that come out. So it's the texture is out, in, out, in, out, in. So I'm putting the darkest bits of paper in where the cracks are. And this particular, some of them aren't as textured as this. Some of them have less deep grooves, but this one really has deep grooves in it. It would always be fun to feel it, to really like be able to run your hands over those, because the cactus itself, the plant, is a succulent and it's very smooth and almost feels like dolphin skin if you've ever petted a dolphin. Kind of that smooth, non greasy, but really, I don't know, it's an interesting texture. And it would be fun to hold them. But the thing is that they're covered with spines and you can't touch it. You can't touch it at all. You have to wear gloves if you're going to do gardening around here. So I've never actually put my hands in it. I know that what the texture feels like though, because like the aloe plants and things like that aren't so spiky and you can touch them. And some of the larger plants, like we have a prickly pear plant that's probably a few hundred years old and it's huge. It's 12 feet tall at least, or 15. It has all its arms going out with all its circular pads all over it. And it's so old that the pads at the bottom don't really have spines anymore. They're worn off or whatever. So you can touch those and feel the strange texture of it. And then if you take the outer skin off of a cactus, it's slimy on the inside. If you guys have ever eaten something called nopales, that's eating prickly pear cactus, and it seems almost like slimy. Like to me, okra is, unless you've got someone who really knows how to prepare it, okra is slimy to me. So I think nopales is similar to that. So now I'm adding the highlight part. That would be the part that's shining in the sun. And it's not smooth. Everything is bumpy. It's kind of, even as the pieces come out, the points come out, the edge of the point is bumpy. Like bump, 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 and then it has a little bit of spine on each bump. So I know there are people who watch my videos who've probably never seen this kind of cactus, because cactus grow in specific parts of the world and in specific climates, and they're not universal. They don't like it to be wet, like super wet. So they want it to be really dry. And it's really dry here. It's a dry heat. So I'm not using just two pieces of paper, right? I don't have a dark piece of paper and a light piece of paper. I'm using all kinds of variety of paper and using it in a way that I would paint. Like I would have a palette and I would have some dark colors, medium color, light color, and then I would be mixing all the time. I'd be mixing and making mid-tones and more mid-tones and 1,000 shades of gray, right? 50 shades of gray. So that's the same thing I'm doing with the paper. And I don't want to tear it in straight strips. I'm trying to tear it in little bumps and circles and oblongs and things like that. I don't want straight lines on there, because there are no straight lines on this cactus. It's all bumpy and curvy. And so, yeah, this is a fun thing for me to do. I like to do this. I know I've mostly been doing abstracts lately, but the next few that you'll be seeing are going to be less abstract. In fact, the one I made today was not an abstract, and I know that I have one for next Sunday that's not an abstract, and this one's not. So I get bored and I have to like jump around. Someone said to me the other day, their comment was, "It looks like you've changed your color palette." And I thought to myself, do I have a color palette? Because I think I use all the colors, like all the colors. I'm not sure that I mean, yeah, so maybe not so much brown all the time, but yeah, I think if the comment was on my purple one, and I thought to myself, purple is my favorite color. I would use purple all the time. I mean, it was just all purple, but purples and blues, but you know what I mean. I was kind of taken aback by that comment. I was like, huh, I'm I mean, I know that there is a phenomenon wherein artists have a palette. These are their colors. These are the ones that they use all the time, the ones that they like, and they tend to repeat that palette. And maybe like in some cases of designers, you can even buy a watercolor palette designed by a designer that it's their colors, or maybe people who design ink pads like Wendy Vecchi, she has a color palette, right? These are her colors. Same way with Dina Wakley and Diane Reevely and Tim Holtz. They have, well, Tim Holtz has so many colors, I don't really think you could say that that's a palette. So I know what people are talking about, but I don't think that I have a palette. I think that my palette is all the colors. Just give me a color, all of them. I want them all, every single one. If a company makes something and it comes in a pack of 8 or 12 or 40 or 60 or 80, I want the 80. I want them all the colors. I can't just have one or two. That's just how it is. Crazy like that. I love color. I just love it. So this one is still within my palette because my palette is all the colors. Yeah. And that purple one was too. And every other one. And all of them. So now I'm working on the flowers. And the flowers are, they look a bit like chrysanthemums, kind of. Lots of little skinny petals, pointed one on top of the other, on top of the other, and they look very dry and not shiny at all. They're dull, um, but a bright color, bright red. So that's what I'm trying to create, and I'm using reds and oranges and this like quinacridone gold color, which, oh, sorry, I've been working hard. Sorry, I just made everyone yawn. The quinacridone gold, which is kind of like rust. I'm using all those colors to make some color variation. And then I've used some ochre and also ochre mixed with white, a piece of that to make the centers. Although the centers aren't quite as defined as that on the actual photo. Like they kind of blend in. They're kind of the same color as the flowers, but I wanted them to be able to show up. So I used those yellow and orangey tones to create the centers so that you could tell where one flower started and the other flower stopped. And that is something called artistic license. In fact, artistic license would give me the option of making this completely unrealistic if I wanted to. I could have made the cactus out of purple and the flowers out of bright pink or yellow or something, which might be kind of fun actually. That would be surrealism then because it wouldn't be realistic anymore. But this is what the cactus looks like in from my artistic eye. This is what it looks like. Is it like a photograph? No. That's a different art form. I don't do photography. I do visual art. So I'm continuing to work on it. Those little things that are sticking up, they're not antenna, they're buds, and also places where the flower has fallen off and it's starting to turn into a fruit. Because once these flowers are gone, these turn into a yellow fruit. And some of them can be eaten. I'm not sure that every single one can or that you would want to, but the prickly pears have a red fruit on them. And I know the big saguaro cactuses have fruit that's yellow that is harvested by the Native Americans here in Arizona. I've never actually harvested those, but I have taken the prickly pear fruit and made it into syrup. You have to have a burning tool. You have to have a little a propane torch that's used for bruleeing. That's the best way to do it. You can go out to the plant and you can burn the fruit. Not really burn it, but with the torch, and that burns off all the little teeny tiny spikes. There's like these little tiny, almost invisible spikes that get in your skin and are so hard to get out. The big spikes, you can pull them out, right? But those little tiny ones, they're so annoying. So now I am using my color brush from Pentel. And this one is like watercolor in a little brush pen. I like to use that one with the India ink. That's a permanent one, but this one is not. It's like a watercolor. So I'm putting it on and then blending it out with my water tank brush. And then, of course, when everything is dry, I will take it outside and spray it with spray sealer because this is going to run with water. This pen will. I wish that they had this in India ink in brown because I want to use brown, but they don't have it. They only have it in these watercolor ones, but they work exactly the same. A little very flexible brush there on the end, and so that works out well. Now I'm going to start my big pen trying thing for you guys here. I keep telling you that I have white pen trouble because so many people in their mixed media use the Sakura pen, they use the Jelly Roll pen. This is a Jelly Roll pen. You'll see it's brand new, it's full of ink, not working. So I put that one aside and I decide to try to use the Sakura one. And no, same thing. I can't get it to work. So I end up grabbing this Arteza Fine Point White. They recently came out with a pack of 20. You get 10 black and 10 white in a very fine tip acrylic pen. So that's what I end up using. Similar to a Posca pen that I use all the time, but I just grabbed that one because it was there on my desk. I've been trying it out with the anticipation of making a video to talk about the new Arteza products that I have, which I still haven't made. They're probably wondering why I haven't, but I will. So this is the Arteza acrylic paint pen. And see, it works. It writes over the top of the collage really great. And I don't know why I even try those other ones. I don't know I even have them. I should just throw them out, except for they're new. And I also don't know why they don't work, because I see other people use them and they work fine, just not for me. I guess maybe it's the dry climate. So I've been drawing on all the little fishhook shaped spines on my cactus and maybe adding a little bit more shadow around the outside edge. Then I'm going to do just a little bit of texturing on the background with a Stencil Girl stencil, and I will be done. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have and you like paper painting, or you know someone else who likes paper painting, you can share it. You can give it a thumbs up. You can leave me a comment or a question. Subscribe if you haven't already. All those things help my channel. And did you guys know that we've passed 19,000 subscribers now? Yeah, just not that long ago it was 18,000. So 20,000, we'll have a giveaway. So that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.